vibe with me. Thank you for being here. Today I want to talk about, first and foremost, I want to talk about, I don't even really know how to articulate it because I'm new, I'm experiencing new gifts and abilities, and it's coming through spirits. And this particular spirit is actually my brother. So it's bittersweet. Okay, so I'm gonna start from the beginning so that I can articulate it as best as possible. Okay, so I believe in 2020, a lot happened in 2020, right? But for me, 2020 was like a pivotal point in my life because I really unconsciously let go of my physical self and became more at one with my spiritual body, unconsciously though, because it was both consciously and unconsciously, but only now do I understand how unaware I was to the level of decisions that I was making for self at the time. And pain brought that on, which I think now I was a little too heavily focused on the fact that that the pain that I was feeling at the time was the problem. And I started to realize that it wasn't so much of the surface level pain that I was feeling. There was more deeper pain that I was experiencing, but I just didn't know at the time what that pain was. So I'm seeing now, like, I had to feel the surface level pain in order for the repressed pain to surface. There we go. Okay. So the suppressed pain, one of the suppressed pains was me being molested. And I still remember the day that it came to the surface. Like, it was, like I said, my brother molested me. And I have so much to say about that too, because, okay, he actually came to my house. It was like a quick stop by. He said he was in the neighborhood and he needed to use the bathroom. But something was off, like I read energy, and something was just off. And literally when he walked out of my door, the memory popped into my mind. It literally popped into my consciousness, and I was just like, whoa. And I'm like, one of the initial, I think, I won't say it's an issue that I have, but I always feel like I have to do something about what I feel and what I know. And that's not always necessarily the case. Sometimes you just need to sit with shit and just, like, me knowing is enough. And that was one of the moments I was having at that moment was, like, oh, like, yeah, it popped back into my mind. What am I gonna do about this? And at the moment, I was like, I don't have time for this. But no, not clearly. It kept resurfacing. It kept popping back into my mind. And I'm like, okay, when things keep popping up, it's because you need to deal with it. And then I remembered, I'm like, you wanted to know what was really going on with you, so here it is. And sometimes when you ask, you will receive. And the things that you receive are not pretty. It's not something that you want to deal with, maybe at all or at the time. And that's what I was dealing with. And I was just like, all right, I have to make time for this. Because I was actually like really trying to unpack a lot of things at that time. And yeah, so, once you know, you can't unknow. And was this 2020 or 2021? I think this was 2021, actually. I can't remember. Like, time. But anyway, so, okay, so that happened. And the thing about me is, when I love, I love. And like, this may be a little bit controversial. I don't know, because I only know how I feel. And I haven't been in a space where I can have conversations with other like individuals whom have gone through similar situations, or maybe even the same situation that I have gone through when it comes to my abuse. And I love deeply, I do. And at the end of the day, my love does not take away from people's actions. Like, I just have a deep capacity. I feel like it's actually a blessing for me to be able to love individuals. It's a double-edged sword, actually. Like, I can love an individual even though they did me wrong, and that's what as a human with emotions, that's what I deal with. Because as a spirit, we infinitely and unconditionally love. And I embody, without thought, I embody my spirit self before my vessel, my physical vessel. And that's been my journey here in this matrix, this 3D realm. It's like, a lot of things just don't make fucking sense to me. And I now realize it's because it's not supposed to make sense, so to speak, because I move first and foremost, like, I let my soul guide me. And I'm still, like, I still have my consciousness of my spirit is very prevalent. It's very alive. It has not left me. And it's a privilege and an honor to be in a physical body and be able to still know thyself in spirit form. So, yes. But that doesn't mean that I don't have my battles. Like, my battles are trying to decipher this 3D realm. It still does not make sense to me. I make it make sense through who I am. Like, I read energy, and I have to read through that. And sometimes it really irritates me, because it's just like, what the fuck? Like, we're human beings, right? Yes, we're spirit first, but we're human. We right now in this moment, I'm a human being speaking to you, and I'm giving a scenario. Like when I get frustrated, I'm speaking to a human being that chooses to be passive aggressive, but has the ability to verbally communicate. And I have to read energy because you choose to be passively aggressive or you choose to lie. You know, like that type of thing. Like I'm still getting used to that. It's just like I had to figure all of this out through my gifts and abilities, because you don't know how to be a decent human being. You don't know how to communicate, or yeah. And when I deal with people, when I deal with individuals like that, and I actually figure things out without them communicating what they probably should have, I get a lot. Sometimes I get backlash from that, because it's just like, well, how do you know that? You know, and people, they become intimidated. They stay away from me. They try to sabotage whatever the situation is. They try to sabotage it or make me like I become the villain. You know, and I'm cool with that, because again, once I know, and I'm gonna act accordingly when I know. And when I have to really dive deep and use my gifts and abilities, because you choose to not use what was given to you, what was gifted to you, you gonna get cut off before you try to cut me off. You know, like, and my energy is felt. When I cut you off, you're gonna feel it. So anyway, all right, okay. So I just went here, and I was supposed to be here. Okay, so my love is something that does not truly exist on this planet, which is why I am here. And even that's a gift for me to know why I'm here. I don't feel like I just have one purpose. I have many purposes. And one of them is to bring the infinite and unconditional love of where I come from here. And certain people on this planet get to experience that through me. And yeah, like I signed up for this, you know? I signed up for this, and I do my job. Okay, so I love my brother. I still love him. Deeply, you know, like one thing I know is for someone to abuse another, especially as a child, because he was a child as well. I feel like something had to happen to him as well for him to do so. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but I feel like something happened to him. I don't know if the same thing happened to him, or maybe he just, you know, some people are born bad seeds and they just do what they do. You know, we all have a purpose, and some of those purposes are to be that catalyst and abuse someone in order for them to feel what they need to feel, or to learn what they need to learn, and move through life and do what they need to do. So anyway, I digress. So regardless, when it comes to who I am and these physical positions that I was supposed to play before I became awakened to that ain't shit. Like family ain't shit, you know. Like it's just a karmic thing. Like we choose our family, we choose our friends, we choose our lovers before we come. It's a contract, and so that we can learn what we need to learn. And I can't even say, unfortunately, I chose the family that I chose because if I didn't, I would not be who I am right now. And I am eternally grateful that I chose them. Like, I know that I'm a very intelligent being, even outside of this 3D realm. I'm a very advanced, intelligent being. So of course I chose them because the things that I needed to learn, I learned them. It was painful, but I am so grateful that I did it. I make sure, like, when I make a decision, it's very conscious, and I make sure that I'm going to be able to elevate, even if it's a struggle. Even like the more struggle, the higher you go. And that's one thing that I do know about this realm, this dense realm. Some like you it's just, it is what it is. So anyway, I love them. And when I love, people are gonna feel it. They're gonna feel it. And I know he always felt it. But I before the repressed memory of him abusing me, he always chose to stay away from me. And I now know why. I now see why. But I didn't understand previously why he was always so distant. And he was also an alcoholic. And like why he was who he became. Because I always remember when we were children, it's just like, yo, like I've always had the ability to see people's potential, and I saw, I can't even say I saw his potential. I'm sorry, I didn't see his potential, but damn, I'm just now realizing that I didn't see any potential in him. So there you go. So, maybe he abused me because he could actually see my potential and he knew that he had none. And, people do what they do. So, yeah. So now, okay, so I'm gonna move forward now because I'm getting a little tired of talking about that. But it's still on the same topic in him. So, he died it's now 2025. He died in 2024. He died in 2024. He actually died of cancer, and it is, I believe I spoke about this before, but I do believe that our emotions, whether we are aware of them or not, and our actions correlate with the karma that we must experience, and how we keep our emotions bottled up. And he was that type of person to keep his emotions bottled up, like seriously bottled up. And it's emotions are energy in motion, and if you're not moving them, they're going to sit in you and manifest into something. And like I said, he was an alcoholic. And it turns out that he developed liver cancer. And he kept it a secret until, I believe, maybe 3 to 4 months prior to his death, that he had stage 4 cancer, because it spread to everywhere. I don't know. It spread many places. I was not in contact with my family. I went no contact with my family so for 2 years. So I wasn't privy to the exact information until last month, a few weeks ago actually. So yeah, and even prior to him dying, when I did speak about my abuse and what I was going through at the moment, and why I was like, I told my family I needed space because I needed things. I had to process some things, like a lot of, not just that abuse came to the surface, but other people's abuse came to the surface as well. And I came to my own conclusion that my certain family members most likely knew that I experienced some type of abuse, but they chose to ignore it because ignorance. That's all I can say, just ignorance. So I became a scapegoat. I became the martyr. I became the villain if I spoke out. I was the black sheep, It was like everybody just treated me a certain way, and I couldn't really comprehend that to a certain extent of why this was happening. So it became the norm. And I needed to process that. And and because a lot of things were repressed for myself, those emotions were bottled up in me unconsciously and led me to behave in a way in which I really didn't understand why my physical self was behaving and feeling certain things that I knew wasn't normal, but however, I was still acting upon it. And that's what I needed to process, because I was really tired. My avatar was so tired of experiencing pain due to other people's actions. But I had to dive deep and understand what was driving me to attract these certain energies for me to even experience this type of pain, because I seem to have been experiencing the same energies just in different bodies. And I was tired of it. And for me, at that time, what took me to actually break out of repetitive cycles was being tired. And my tolerance for pain is very high in my physical body, whether it's emotional, physical, any way, it is very high, which is a problem. It became a problem because I was running myself through the dirt, allowing energies that weren't good for me to actually be in my energy. So I did the work. I did my shadow work. And where am I going with this? Yeah, I did the shadow work. So with me doing the shadow work allowed me to get back into break no contact with my family, because I was ready. I spoke about that in the last video. And ever since then, which was a few weeks ago, my abilities, my spiritual abilities and gifts have heightened. Through visual, through just knowing, feeling, yeah. And my brother is the spirit that has been contacting me more than anybody else. So, so the way I feel about it, like, I don't mind, because I've healed so much within me. I wasn't given the closure that I thought I needed. I had to give myself closure, because nobody wants to talk about my trauma. And from what I know, when I spoke to my mother, she said that he said he didn't do it. And what can I do? people die they literally take things to their grave. And that's on them, that's on them. I'm okay with it. Like I said, I'm going back to my love. I still love him, and he knows it, which is why he's contacting me. But I also know that I have the ability to tell him, not today, not right now, or leave me alone completely indefinitely. But right now, I don't feel the need to. Yes, this is what I was thinking about yesterday. So he contacted me yesterday, and we grew up together, very musically inclined. Like, we really love music, and for a certain amount of time, we love the same type of music, and we used to sing together, like sing our heart and soul out together and things like that. And I really enjoyed those moments. Like, I cherish those moments, and I believe that's like he can now, in spirit, he can now see me for my entirety. Like, he sees who I am without the emotion, and it's just like, let me bring these memories back to you. And I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate those. I appreciate it, and I appreciate this moment. And I also thought about, so he's bringing memories back to me. He's talking to me through music. And I was literally like, a song popped into my mind, and I was just like, oh, I'm gonna listen to the whole album. It's 24 Karat Gold, Bruno Mars. I love that album. And like the old to the 90s R&B, like, it's dope. And I think it was like 2021, perhaps. I didn't know, 2020, I don't know. But time is like non-existent to me. My brother actually had surgery around 2020, 2021. And I found out a few weeks ago that surgery was actually it was to clear up some scar tissue or something from the cancer that he actually had. But he lied and said that he just had a heart murmur or something and had everybody led astray. So, like, he put a lot of energy into this falsified reality that gives you a glimpse of who he chose to be as a human being. And he had surgery, and after the surgery, when he was well enough to have company, I went over to his home, and there was a song playing. Was it that time, or this was another time? No, this was in 2020. This was before the surgery. Maybe I was supposed to talk about surgery. I don't know, but I remember this was 2020. He and his girlfriend invited me over to his house, and we had dinner. We was just vibing, music. I didn't know that he was so into, like, his love for music evolved into more of dancing to the music, and I was delighted to see that and him express that. I love to see people in their joy. And the song Too Good to Say Goodbye, I think that's what it's called, by Bruno Mars, it had came on. And I was just like, oh my God, I love this song. And he was like, yeah, me too. And I was just like, oh. And we both sang the song together, the entire song together. And it was a moment. It was a moment. And I remember, yesterday I was in the supermarket, and I was just so grateful that that was my last heartfelt encounter with him before the repressed memory came back to me. And sometimes you just don't know when a gift is given to you before shit hit the fan. And I'm just so grateful that I got to experience. I have that type of memory before the repressed memories resurfaced. And I don't know if people experience these things, like it's my experience. Like I'm really like, yes, he abused me, but I still love him. I loved him and I still love him, and I'm just so grateful that he's even contacting me in this way that's bringing me joy. So I don't know if it's weird. I don't really care if it's weird, but it's my experience. Okay, so this happened yesterday, like these memories and that song coming on, I was listening to while I was out in the supermarket, and I was just like, yo, I am so grateful that I experienced that, like singing with him for the last time. And then I got home and I was about to take a shower, and I thought I heard my daughter ask me a question, and she didn't say anything. I thought she was right outside the bathroom door. She didn't say anything. I thought she would ask me like, oh, you in the bathroom, you're gonna take a shower. And so I was like, huh? And I didn't hear anything, so I opened the door, and as soon as I opened the door, I saw something flash. It was like blue. I saw my son's bedroom door was open, and I saw something blue flash and go up. And I was like, I don't know what that was, but I'm sure it was something of a spirit. And I didn't think anything of it again. I didn't think anything of it more after that. Like I know I see spirits, but I didn't think too deeply into it. Like if nothing comes to me, it's just, I saw it and whatever. But then I just happened to look down before I was about to close the door, and my cat, cats see in all dimensions. And my cat was like getting ready, like she was looking in the same direction that I know that light spirit went to, and she was just staring. She was in a pouncing position, as if she wanted to jump up. And I was like, oh, like, okay, that's a prominent spirit. She see it too, which means like it's real. What I saw was real. And then you know what song came on? Every woman, every man, join a caravan of love. Stand up, stand up, stand up. And but what stood out was he was like, I'm your brother. I'm your brother. Don't you know? I'm your brother. The dead talks to me. And he's really talking to me. And he was there. So yeah, that happened. That happened. And I believe that, sometimes people, as a human being, it's not easy being a human being. We have to learn how to be human beings because we're spirits first. And I believe that he's one of those spirits that I encountered that struggled to be a human being. But the love was there, strangely, the love was there in spirit. And now that he is in spirit form again, he gets to express in the purest way of what he couldn't express as a human being. And one of my questions to myself, to my spirit guides and ancestors, as I healed these past 2 years, was, why is it that I could never experience the love that I know exists? Because I exist and I feel the love. I know how to give that love. But why is it that I can't experience it from another human being? And I got my answer yesterday, because my journey, part of my journey is here as a human being on this planet is to it was to, and I say was because I realized that the love that I seek is the love that I have for myself. And my love is unconditional, is infinite, and I've reached that pivotal point of self-love. And people, like, I'm permanent. I have to live with myself until my last breath. And everybody outside of me is temporary. And that's okay, because the self-love that I have is permanent. I did the work to reach this, and people get to experience this, although they may not have ever experienced it. That's the blessing. That's the blessing. That's why I have not found that love outside of myself, because I am it. And for people to go on in spirit and still want to contact me and show me the love that they couldn't show me in human form, I love that. I really do. It's a blessing. I have the ability to forgive, and I have forgiven. And yeah, I'm really proud of myself. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of who I am. Yeah. So I don't know what else. Like, that really happened, and it makes me so excited. It makes me so excited. Yeah. I wish that everyone that this message reaches can journey on to their pivotal point of self-love, to the point in which they know, not believe, but know that it's okay if no one sticks around. It's okay if no one loves you, because you love you. And once you love you, you will always love you. And I love you. All right, I'm going. I'm gonna check up the deuces. Peace.